I
Like
really,
it seemed like showing how he looked and just seeing him as such a just beat down. He was
Hmm.
in a hole in the ground. Like he kind of looked like my stepdad. Like, and now they're just gonna put him. They're gonna. I mean, of course, he was a fucking evil guy.
it was horrible. But at the
But
same time, I also felt like he was like the kid that he was the kid sitting behind the bully, and then the guy walks by the bully and smacks him on the head. And that was Osama bin Laden. He smacked the bully on the head. The bully, like, he turned around and he just hit Saddam Hussein. He didn't do anything about the 9/11 stuff, but they would
Yeah.
just go and kill him anyway.
yeah,
And just it felt really it was a weird like mix of emotions because at the same time it's like, wow, this asshole is like mustard gassed his people, so he's a terrible, horrible person. But it's like, yeah, I don't know, I don't, yeah, I think there's a lot more terrible people in the world than that guy.
Hmm.
it seems really weird that we're like, hey, he's not so bad.
I'm not even gonna touch that.
That's why you don't show that you. But it's what you're touching on here. Like I show the face of the person that you are killing in the game. Like so you feel bad. You see the person's face and you feel bad. Like
Yeah, but you
that's why-
pan away before you see the actual squishing.
Yeah,
You pan away.
yeah. But like, what I'm saying is like if they wouldn't have showed any pictures of Saddam Hussein, I don't think I would have felt so bad. But like people naturally don't want to murder. And I think that's the catch here.
I see.
Not everybody wants to be a murderer, and we all murdered him. Like, we all murdered this person. We're all part of this. And we saw his face and felt a little bad. If we would have seen Osama bin Laden's face, if that would have been a recorded thing, and, you saw him pleading for his life, if you had any humanity in you, you probably would have felt pretty bad about it, even though he orchestrated something that murdered a bunch of people. But it's
Alright.
it's an interesting thing to think about.
That you're showing.
It's
All
the
right.
thing that makes us not sociopaths, really.
Yeah, yeah. One day, I believe one day me and Tommy will make a game about this.
There you go. Well, let's move to the iOS version of Super Meat Boy. What can we expect in that might be different than you would see in the regular game?
Everything.
Everything. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a completely different game. Like, it's like Tommy and I always said we'd never make a sequel, and really it's not a sequel. Like, this is the I don't want to compare it because it pales in comparison, but like this is the link to the Adventures of Link to The Legend of Zelda. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it's gonna be a completely different game with similar.
Yeah.
Similar. It's gonna have the characters that you're familiar with, but it's gonna play differently. It's gonna feel different. It's gonna have a lot of different aspects to it, but at its core, you're still a little elf with a sword.
I see.
Yeah.
I was reading your article in Game of Sutra, and that's why I felt like I really needed to have you guys on to do this interview, because you were saying that you wanted to show respect to mobile players, and explain what that means, because I think and what you said in there, that there is a very power-up carrot dangling, thing that happens with a lot of these games, and we won't name the big the big bad. Yeah, the one who does
They're
the
all
most of
there.
this.
The sad thing is it's not even the big ones. Like, it's like mob rule. Like, once you've done something and it's okay. Like, once somebody literally stole an idea on iPhone and put their game out and got away with it, it's okay to do. And in the same way, like, once you start using really abusive, manipulative tactics business-wise in your games, and it's a success, like, then it's okay to do. And then people who are not bad people and not trying, they're not even conscious. I believe that there's people who aren't even conscious of what they're doing, and why it's bad, because they don't think about it. They just say, this is a business model, I'm using somebody's business model that was proven to work, and what's the harm in that? And that's kind of the shitty situation that you're in when it comes to this environment. But to start out, I guess it's I think when Tommy and I both approach design, approach it from a perspective of honesty and respect. And it sounds weird when you're making games to use that as the basis, but with art, it's incredibly important to be very honest. I believe that like the core of art is honesty, and if art isn't honest, it's not art. And which is why some people could argue that something like a video game based off of some movie or whatever that was made by a bunch of people who don't really feel anything for the game at all isn't that artistic, and it's not going to be.
They don't do that well either.
Meaningful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna have that heart that it would if it was like a personal project made by one or two people that really feel invested in what they're doing. And when it comes to business and here's art and honesty, here's business and lies. Like business is based on lies and manipulation. Like that's what business is. Business is the evil, cancer.
It's the art of finding a weakness in someone and exploiting it for money. In so many, well, not in like every business, but in so many ways it is. Especially like on the App Store and stuff. There's so many examples of just like, okay, well here we'll make a game. It's not gonna be that good. It's gonna be good enough to the point where you'll play it through once or twice and you'll get bored with it. But then you can buy these power-ups, so you can, in a way, see what these power-ups do without actually playing the game. So it plays to a person's need for discovery, and it also plays to a person's need for boredom. So they don't need to spend like a whole bunch of time on a game to actually make it so like microtransactions and stuff actually work well in it. I mean, if you're running through and you've only gotten to the point where you get this one certain gun or something, and you see that, oh, well, God, I don't really want to play this game anymore because it's really not doing much for me, but I could spend $2 and buy this gun. I could buy the better gun, and maybe that'll make the game more fun. And it doesn't. It doesn't, because it's just another stepping stone up to the $5 gun or the $12 pack of all of the guns. You know, it's just playing on boredom. It's
playing on the fact that we all have this animal brain that can be exploited by, we are bound to eat more, like you look at any big business of anything, like it's sickening. Like it's sickening that in order to be a good businessman in food, you need to make your food as addicting as possible in order to make a good amount of money and become a success. And that's horrible. And that's why business is horrible. And that's why we try to remove as much of that business aspect from what we're doing. Like, of course, we got to make a fucking living on what we're doing.
Right.
But we don't. We want to do that in the most honest way possible.
Yeah, you can be ethically a business person.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like what Tommy's saying. If you are playing a game and your clear goal is something like get X amount of points and you get this gun, and you have to play a shitload in order to get that gun, but they allow you to pay money to get that gun, it is not a game. It's no
a pay to play.
Game.
Yeah.
It completely ceases to be a game, and it is only a business model. That is a business model to take your money. That's all they care about. They don't give a fuck if the game's fun. They don't give a fuck if they don't care about the game. They cease to care about the game. They've admitted that money is more important than a good game, and they just want your money. And they're using very, very basic, very easy manipulative tactics in order to manipulate the user into just buying something that they don't even know they want. They just feel like they need it because it's there and it's a goal and that they are supposed to achieve. And it's horrible. I mean, it all started on Facebook with Farmville and everything else like that, and it just became this just sickening casual business model, and it sucks because like it's oh man, it's just. I was talking to somebody recently and they were like, the casual game market is 60% women, and this isn't a slight to women at all, but women are mostly new to games, and I hate to think that women are being manipulated by this horrible business model into thinking that this is what games are. Like this isn't what games are. Like it's just sickening. Like I would just hate to think that a market driven by 60% women that are finally getting into video games are being just raped by this horrible. They're just it's just destroying video games. Like it's destroying video games.
Really
Like
is.
this is their Mario. Like this is their Mario. Like this is what they get to start with. Like
Well,
it's
Tommy,
just horrible.
let's play devil's advocate here with Tommy for a second. What do you think of like Blizzard saying, I'm going to sell you a vanity pet or a vanity mount, that I'm going to take that money and dedicate it to charity, and if you want to buy the Celestial Steed, you know, you can do that. Do you think that that affects, you know, the focus on the game?
Wait, no, the key thing here is, does
Yeah.
the pet give you an advantage?
No, it's just pretty.
Okay, then it's fine.
Yeah, then it's
It's
Well, unless EPing is your goal.
If I don't give a fuck about people buying hats.
yeah,
You know, like I
because
don't.
that's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's totally nothing. And plus, those games like Team Fortress 2 is a very fulfilling game. It is a very fulfilling game without those little purchases. So more power to them if they could put digital hats out there and make millions of dollars. It's fine. It's just people. That's basically the equivalent of someone buying merchandise at a store.
Okay, I see where you're going now.
now.
Yeah, they're
So-
they're decorating their avatar. You know, that
Yeah,
makes
they-
sense in an environment like this because you want your avatar to look unique. You want it to embody you. So if you have all these different customizations, of course, that makes complete sense and seems totally okay. If it were if it was a situation like World of Warcraft where you could just pay to have a level 90 character or whatever, which you kind of can, and they've actually tried to
think
fight
no
against it,
expansion.
which shows that they know what they're doing in that respect, even though World of Warcraft is also questionable. But like, that's wrong. Like it's just wrong on a whole just new level. Like you can argue up and down that like level grinding and you know the level grinding carrots in most MMOs is really not that good either. You could also argue against it and say that it's more of a social experience, which I think is more okay. But you know, the level grinding aspect I don't think is that good. I think it could be, you know, greatly improved and whatever else. But this is just it's just way above it. When it's messing with, when it's, you know, it's one thing to just throw your life away into a video game. It's another thing to throw your life away into a video game and also all your money.
Money, yeah. Well, what about Diablo 3 with your auction house that's involving real money? What do you think about that?
I don't know anything about it. What is
I
it?
actually don't know anything about that either.
Yeah, my basic understanding is that Diablo 3 is an auction house where they take a large cut, Blizzard takes a large cut of items that you post that you win in game, and you can buy them for actual cash. So
Yeesh.
I would think that would be more of a pay to play where it's going to affect.
Yeah, that seems quite shitty. And again,
Yeah,
it's
I don't
probably
like
just
that.
that's
Yeah.
pretty bad. That's just it seems to be them bending to what is considered an acceptable business model, which
It
just
actually-
sucks.
It sounds like them bending to Activision is what it sounds like.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, when we're working on Super Meat Boy and we're working with Microsoft, don't think that they never said, "Hey, you want to do microtransactions?"
Yeah.
Every company every publisher, well, not Steam, but every publisher that you'll work with, like, will ask you at some point in time, "What do you think about microtransactions?" And then you give your opinion. You know, like, so I'm quite positive, like you said, like Activision is involved with Diablo. They're the publisher.
Well, it's Activision Blizzard now. They're merged together.
They merged.
They're one.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that whatever business department got together and said, "You guys would be fucking retarded not to juice people for this," and not realize that like that's not fair. Like,
Well, what I guess if you're looking at it the same way, they're actually trying to corner what's going to happen anyway. Because what's going to happen is the same thing that happened with Diablo 2, from what I remember, where you could
gold farming.
Yeah, where
Yeah,
you could power
that's
up
the
your
thought.
guy, and you could sell weapons on like eBay, and then you would just meet the person in game and then exchange weapons.
Ah, okay.
So in a way, maybe that's them trying to corner that. And honestly, if you have a place in game to do it, and people are going to do it anyway, because even without the auction house, they'll just do it on eBay. So there might as well be some sort of auction house inside the game that allows them to do it. I mean,
Yeah, but if it's inside the game, it's more accessible, and then it also changes.
it makes
like,
it's bad and it's good. It's like totally unpreventable, but it's also like
I just hate, like, I think it's more okay, like, of course a fucking hardcore, like, why not? Like, why not can a hardcore, wealthy Diablo fanatic who wants this certain item or certain character go spend $20 of his money on